around the country, and this is the first time that we've actually had the opportunity to have another chairperson on to talk about how it works and what works for them and what we can learn from one another. The Kid Army thing is a great idea. I can hear Simon's gears turning in his head right now, because we have a lot of people that are in their mid to late 20s into their 40s have a lot of kids. In the fall, attendance drops. Why? Because Saturday mornings are football and soccer and all this other stuff for Pee-wee leagues. So the parents are off doing that and they can't make it out to the pub, for 9 o'clock or a 10 o'clock match or whatever the case is. But they are still fully invested. They're still on the web pages, and they still want to be a very active part of what's going on. And it all leads up to a Christmas party or something that we do around Boxing Day or the New Year or something like that. Are those events that you guys are looking forward to doing as well? Do you do anything special around the holidays?
It's funny because Ben had posted in the Supporters Club leadership page, what do you guys do for end of season and Christmas? And we've only done we only did it last season. We didn't do it in our first year. But our Christmas party last year was a huge success. It was fun. It was festive. The pub had decorated, obviously not just for us, but it just created a really good atmosphere. And obviously we won, which always helps. But it was just fun, and you got to put some effort into it. You got to have some prizes to give away. We did the Chinese Christmas. I think everyone figured out what that is. And the bar took care of us, so we took care of the bartenders. And we probably only had about 35 or 40 the week before Christmas. People are out doing their thing. But it was such fun, and everyone hung out after the game for a good hour and a half to 2 hours afterwards. And it was just a blast. And we're going to start planning that, in September, because I think we want to put a lot more work into it and really generate a lot more buzz this year. Our membership for the new season included a raffle ticket for a signed piece of merchandise that we've yet to buy, but will do. And that's probably going to cost us $400, but it's worth it because that's what you do with the money. The money you generate as a club, you put it back into the club to help your members.
Yeah, it's all non-profit.
Yeah, so they say, this is awesome. Look what I just won. Tim Alexander and I think Alan Sanders last year, they cleaned up at the Christmas party.
Yeah.
And good, well done to them, and that's the way it should be. That's the validation that you're doing a good job. So hopefully all that helps you, Ben, and you do that for your Christmas party. Hopefully the match you pick is at a time that's conducive to do it as well, being on the West Coast.
Yeah, and if you guys listen, if you're out there and you don't have a supporters club that's anywhere near you, you can go on Tottenham's website. In their supporters section down at the, I think it's about the third or fourth tab from the lower part of the web page on the left, it says supporters clubs, and you can go there, click on it, and you can find the one that's closest to you. Or if you have I think it's 2 people you need or 3 people you need to get one started.
I think you need 5.
It's 5.
Oh, it's 5 now? Okay.
Yeah. So for anyone out there that's listening, if you have any interest in starting a supporters club, tweet myself at SDSpurs on Twitter. Go to the newly formed www.sandiegospurs.com, which actually just leads you to Facebook. Send me a message. Or, subsequently you can send Simon one. I will be happy to help you. I have a lot of info on everything. It's a lot of fun. It's really cool.
Yeah.
You should do it.
And we've done that. We've helped out San Antonio, and we tried to help out Las Vegas.
They're getting ready to go official.
Yeah, they are. And so that it kind of validates that it's one big community. We are a Yid Army. And even though our cities don't get along sometimes, whether it's Dallas and Philly or L.A. and San Diego or whatever the case is, we are still a Yid Army, and we are the Yids in America too. So
I think L.A. and San Diego got on pretty well on July 29th.
Yeah, and
Dallas.
I wasn't able to make it out to Denver, but everyone told me that they kind of were like, man, San Diego knows how to get down. So.
That's fun.
It kicked off. It certainly kicked off.
Definitely.
It all sounded like a lot of fun. And speaking of fun, let's talk about the antithesis of fun, which was Stoke.
God.
Good segue, mate. Good segue. Is that man Sam back from his beer?
Yeah, Sam made a brewery run.
You got to kick this off, mate.
Yeah, you know why, too? Because Sam is our player of personnel director person on the show. He dives into the salaries and the ins and outs of each and every player more than anyone.
And he sees what we don't see when he's looking at that TV screen for the 15th time. Analyzing a match.
I've only watched it twice, and I'm way behind the 8 ball. 4-4-2, no Danny Rose, no Bentaleb. Mason, I thought, played well, but Sam, I am anxious to hear what you have to say about the lineup, the formation, and how the subs the subs went. Oh my God!
I've watched it 2.5-ish times, and I got to tell you, it's bizarre. It is one of the most surreal matches. It's inexplicable. Let's not focus on what I think. I mean, maybe just sort of talk about different things. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's not like we certainly had that match won. It was as calamitous of a 20. I mean, like we've bottled it before historically. I mean, I thought of Man United. What was that? We were 3-0 at home against United. Glenn Hoddle's squad lost 4-3.
Oh, 5-3.
Yeah, and then City. We were 4-0 up in that match. Against
the FA Cup,
yeah,
3-0 at half-time.
Yeah.
They had Joey Barton sent off at the stroke of half-time. We lost 4-3.
That's
but
right.
let's be honest though. When's the last time that you had a draw that felt like a loss?
It's probably been a while.
Well, it's been a while. There was a season or two where it felt like that was happening a lot in the last 5 minutes, but I can't remember, Ben, a 20-minute period. I mean, like I remember halves where we systematically collapsed, but I have
Crystal Palace. Yeah,
and it wasn't as if, I mean, granted, it was ultimately Harry Kane's substitution.
It was. Well,
it wasn't immediate. It wasn't immediate because it happened about 7 or 8 minutes after he got sent off. But it was sort of a gradual progression towards that moment. But yeah, I mean that was eventually, I suppose, the catalyst. And then it's probably a good discussion point. Lots of bitching, right, in reaction to this match, particularly in regards to the substitutions. And whereas I think there's blame to be laid all over the place for this performance, people talk about that. I don't want to share what I think right now, but I'm curious to think what you guys think about the substitutions and was that, Harry Kane, I suppose, was somewhat out of necessity. He was injured, but should we have substituted Mason?
Well, let's touch on that a little bit because we all saw him with the ice pack on, but Posh says he's not fit. So which is it? Did he pick up a knock? Which during the match it didn't look like he picked up a knock, and he's the kind of resilient guy that will stay out there. It'd probably play out there if his leg was hanging by a tendon, but it didn't look like he picked up a knock. Granted, he wasn't having the best of games. He had a few opportunities, but again, like last week, he wasn't getting an awful lot of service. But we're 2-0 up, and I think I tweeted to Sam at the time, this smacks of Alf Ramsey in the 1970 World Cup quarterfinals when England were 2-0 up. He pulled off Bobby Charlton, and anyone who remembers that match knows what happened. It was 2-2, and we lost in extra time. If that game had gone to extra time yesterday, we'd have lost 3-2. So it went true to form. And I said that at 2-0, right, Sam?
Yeah, you did.
And bloody hell, it was 2-2. I was sick as a pig because it was coming. You could just see it. And I think even before Harry came off, the tide was turning. Inspired substitution by Sparky, bringing on Stephen Ireland because he was the catalyst in that change for Stoke. And we didn't adjust for it. We did not adjust for it. And that goes down to the subs.
Ireland played the best game I think I have ever seen him play.
Yeah. Ben, I was thinking the exact same thing. He was terrific. I mean, his cross for the second was left-footed. Was left-footed. He was so good.
No,
it was his pass that went into the box that Toby fouled, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what Ireland did yesterday is what we lack. The impact sub, someone that's going to come off the bench and make a difference. I think the last time we legitimately had someone like that was Jermaine Defoe.
No, I disagree. I think the last impact sub we had was Sigurdsson. I still to this day maintain that was my biggest why did we get rid of him player. Because I think if you remember back, what was it, 2 years ago, every single time Siggy came on, he scored for about a 3 to 4 match run, and then he stopped getting played. And I think that that to me is the perfect impact sub. You come on and you make a difference.
Right.
Yeah, I remember the game, I think Ken, you might have been there. We went over to Londoner and South Lake, and they hosed us, so we motored over to Trinity Hall. We were 2-0 down, and
Southampton.
and Siggy, I think, was the catalyst in that. We won 3-2. So you could ask Southampton, and that was Poch's Southampton back then, if they felt that a commanding lead felt like a loss, because guess what it was. But more to that point, you talk about the impact sub that Stoke made. Look at the impact sub that we made. Lamella. And I say that sarcastically for those who didn't pick up on that.
It was awful.
It speaks to a bigger issue, though, is that, what did he really have to draw from? It's not like that there was this enigmatic selection of players that he has on the bench at his disposal, right? And
but there was no Pritch, there was no Yedlin, and he didn't bring on Ali, and he didn't bring on Carroll.
So here's the question: what would have been your substitution for Kane? Because I have one. I'd like to hear what everybody else has to think.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that I fault the Lamella substitution. A player with his price tag, his expectations, and now with his experience, should be expected to come on for 30 minutes and make an impact. So,
but he validated that he has never come on and done anything in his Spurs career.
And I mentioned that last week. He will never be an impact substitution.
Yeah,
he will
but
never do that.
Kenny, and it's a true comment that you made, but shouldn't. Boy, I tell you what. I mean, we're deserving of getting that out of him.
I agree, and I agree with you. But it's just not the player that he is, and that's just a fact. Now, to answer Ben's question, listen. When we made that substitution, it wasn't striker for striker. We were falling back into a 4-2-3-1. Chadley was going to play up front, and we were becoming more defensive.
There is no striker for striker option. There's no.
So here's my thing with that. So we're playing that 4-2-3-1 that we shifted in. I would argue that you probably should have shifted Dembele back, played a 4-3-3, and brought on Tom Carroll, who's an additional defensive, not purely defensive-minded player, but is good at blocking a ball.
Well, I think the knock on that is just how could you bring on such a slight player when, if anything, you're thinking about protecting a lead. I mean, it may have worked out. That probably would have been the reflexive rebuttal to it. I think.
But at 65 minutes, that's not the case.
No.
We're still 2-0 up.
We're 2-0 up. And here's the thing. I mean, you have to remember that even though he hasn't proven himself necessarily with Spurs, he did have a Prem loan last year, and he did show some decent defensive qualities when he was playing with Swansea.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
it's an idea,
I haven't thought about that, so it's going to take that to sink in.
The point to make is that there wasn't a lot of rich options to choose from, and I didn't think that those were somewhat logical substitutions in my mind, unless I'm missing something.
Well, Mason also said that he wasn't fully fit in his interview, so that to me that's a big red flag that. Mm-hmm. We probably should have known that. We probably should have known, okay, no matter what, Mason is going to come off today, so let's plan for that. And I think that Saturday also proved the thing that I've been really worried about, which is clearly Ali does not have the defensive capability that we might need in that pivot.
Yeah, I mean, I just haven't seen enough of him to be able to say whether that's the case or not. And you know what? Look, the other thing is Nabil was benched last week. You think that he would come on and have a spirited performance. It didn't seem illogical to me to have, for whatever reason, he decided to take Mason off. Let's just assume that he wasn't, he didn't have the required fitness to do the full 90. I mean, why?
No, he said in his Spurs interview or Spurs TV interview that he was getting leggy at about 60. So
fair enough. But it shouldn't be a stretch to no differently than ask Lamella for a good 20 or 30 minutes. We could certainly expect that from Nabil, right? But he didn't. I mean, he made zero difference whatsoever, and Lamella lost the ball at every opportunity. Chair sent me a text, Ben and Ken. He sent me this text after his first touch, which was a foul.
Yeah.
Like hashtag foulmella. Because I mean, every opportunity he got, he either lost the ball or he fouled somebody.
Well, think about how we've talked about Lamella in the past, though. Look, he's not the greatest offensive threat right now, and I don't know if it's just adjusting to the English style of game or what it is, but he is defensively tenacious at times.
At times,
and that may be why they brought him on. That when you turn around and you look at what was on the bench, that was your best defensive option in the midfield.
Yeah.